Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, wait. It,
We
uh,
survived the intro.
we actually started on time. Hey, that's cool. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the people, the billions around the world. Thank you for
The
joining us
billions
tonight.
and billions of people.
That's right. Here on AMOK. It's my week, so we're going to talk about Arkansas a little bit, and then we'll talk to a foreigner. The what
Me.
do we got
Oh.
going on here in Arkansas? We have this coming weekend. They're going to be doing the thing that Santiago is doing in Paragold, the Scared City thing. I forgot the name of it.
Scared City Paracon? Is that what
No,
it
it's
is?
not a
No.
Paracon.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a horror thing. I'm sorry.
Shame on. Yeah.
Productions. Scared City Productions.
So, that's right. That's right. So go in and hang out with some friends.
Yes.
So that'll be kind of cool. So I'll do some short little live thing from there while we're there. But I've been talking about how real dear to my heart is the Arkansas Paranormal Expo coming in October. It'll be here in
Which
just a
I
couple.
have finished that intro, by the way.
Woohoo! And and it'll be here in just a couple blinks. So you guys got to start making plans to go there, and then you get an opportunity to see me. I mean, that'd be fantastic for everybody. I mean, fly in from Scotland.
No, they want to see me. I'm the one they want to see, Adrian. I'm sorry.
You'll be there too. You'll be there too. And interestingly enough,
I'm gonna dye my hair purple too.
The person in the middle of the screen here is Martha, and she is been there a couple times herself. So that's why I say we're talking about a foreigner, because she's from I forget how to pronounce that. Where's that?
The Tejas.
Texas. Texas.
Taxes.
So
taxes.
Oh, that's horrible.
from the CPA. He said taxes, of course. If you don't know who Martha Hazzard Decker is, she is a wonderful speaker. I've known her for a couple of years. She has a book. Only one, right? You only have the one book, right? Paranormal Profiling.
She's got two now.
Two. See, I've got the Paranormal Profiling, and I should have grabbed it before I got all hooked up on that thing, but I pulled it up on Google, and but yeah,
don't buy that one though.
Don't buy it.
Don't buy that one.
Come to one of the many events.
The publisher's out of business, and they're stealing all the money for the sales.
Oh my goodness!
No. Oh my
gosh! Contract for several years. And so there's copyright infringement because they do not have the rights to even have the book up there. I cannot get it off of Amazon. I am doing a Paranormal Profiling 2, which will have updated and advanced information in it. And that one, I should be done. Well, I was going to be done by the end of this month. So I'll be done next month sometime.
Yeah, right on. No, I like the book, and I like the presentation because you go in deep and start talking about things. But a lot of investigators, and I'll put the air quotes up, investigators don't really get into too much. You talk about different ways of interviewing clients, and I thought that was great. And you get that from your history because you were like the popo, right?
The popo.
Yeah, I was for about 16 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
and then 7 years with the state doing the same thing, sort of. So my interviews kind of take on a note sometimes of I feel like they're doing a jail book-in. Because they're all questions you need to ask when you're interviewing and trying to determine if anything's going on.
Right.
So
and you have to keep impartial
before that. So I'm just used to being nosy.
I
like being nosy too.
That has nothing to do with being a woman, right? That's just
no. Adrian. Just wait till I see you. I'll get you.
He's over here.
So here.
I'll be seeing him soon enough.
Is Tina watching?
No, she's like she'll watch it.
Adrian,
I tell her to get on, but she's playing her game. She got a game to play. Anyhow, no. So we always ask people, typical if you've had interviews and if you've probably answered it several times, but we like to ask people what got them into the paranormal. And to me, I usually ask that, but we've been together several times, and I have never asked you that question. And so, how do you go from being a cop to going into paranormal investigations?
Well, easy. I was doing that before I was a cop.
Oh yeah.
So, I've been almost 30 years. I've been doing investigations.
So you've been crazy that long?
No, longer.
Longer.
Longer. Probably at preschool age.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh
I
my.
found a bunch. I found all the video movies, or all videos, but all the movies that were taken with my grandfather from when we were like little bitty.
Oh no.
She got censored.
Meanwhile, I'm going. Whether I'm standing up or in a pool, no matter where I am. It's just,
Too funny.
only I was long and skinny back then.
I was weird too, though. I
was
like it.
too. It's almost a
I like it.
prerequisite for this, you know, honestly.
Well, except for the time when I was 10 and decided to be the leader of the gang that there wasn't. There was a family I was friends with, one of the girls, and their house, they didn't have any keys to the lock, so when they'd leave, the house was unlocked. And I saw the car go by. There's like 5 kids. They all went down the street, and I grabbed a bunch of those. Go, hey, y'all want some candy? I know where to go.
Oh my
So we go
God.
to the house. They follow me. I'll get it. So I go to the front door, and I open the front door, and I go, hello, hello, is anybody here? And I waited. I didn't hear anything. Then I went around to the back of the house, and there wasn't a basement, but you would go upstairs to the kitchen, and then down. I went downstairs. Hello, hello, and same thing. Didn't hear anything. So I go upstairs, and the cabinet was right by the back door. I go, hello, hello. Nobody comes. So I open that cabinet, and as soon as I put my hand in the cabinet, I hear this big old deep. What do you think you're doing?
Ooh.
Dad had stayed home. Dad was an FBI agent too.
Ooh. Ooh.
And I was so afraid of my father that I ended up in the cul-de-sac behind our house, hiding under a car all day long while the whole neighborhood was going, Marty, Marty. Until
You're like, nope.
See, that's what got me. I could have, gone one way or another. I went into law enforcement instead of being a criminal.
Because your neighbor taught you well.
Yeah, I was scared. Well, I was more afraid of my father than anything.
I understand
I thought he was
that.
going to literally kill me. But yeah,
I understand that. My dad was a cop too, so I understand that completely.
yeah, mine wasn't, but the neighbor was FBI.
Oh yeah,
so
the neighbor was FBI. Yep.
That was pretty bad.
Ooh.
Ay, ay, ay.
So you said you said you're ghost hunting before you became a cop?
Yeah.
Did they all think you're crazy? I mean, for doing that?
No. And being in East Texas, I kind of had to downplay it a little bit.
Yeah.
But the select few knew what I did, and if anybody came to our department with any kind of weird stuff, Decker, come here.
Yeah.
You can have this one. You can have this one.
That's funny. That's funny. You become that. You become that person.
And how
Well,
often?
and I still get calls from different people. There's a detective in one town about 45 minutes from here. All of a sudden, it's like something switched on in him, and I'd known him for, well, by this point, probably almost 30 years, because just the length of time from when I was in law enforcement until a few years ago. And he started experiencing stuff, so he called me, And I swear the first 6 months, we must have talked more than we had ever talked in 30 years because he was on the east side of the county. I'm on the west side of the county. And we just knew each other professionally. So I take him to some things every now and then, and to get his side on stuff because of a couple of different gifts that he has that kind of just opened up, kind of freaked him out a little bit, which is why he called and we started talking. But I have other deputies and other officers call me. Then I've been worked on a couple of like unsolved murder cases with sheriff's department. That one was fascinating one. They're still working on it. But I figured out what actually happened. And then pretty much. But I used both. I used my empath side, my law enforcement, just the whole everything I used put together. And on that one, I went to the crime scene with them and everything. And then the city has called me to go check out one of their buildings. Well, a couple cities have actually called me. And another police department, one of the officers called about an unsolved murder, and I was supposed to get together with him, and I don't know if he just, I don't know what happened, and it's just far enough away that I really haven't had the time to make the phone calls to say, hey, what's up or anything. If they need me, they've got my number.
Yeah.
Wow. So did any of these turn out to be actually something odd or paranormal, or was it just because of your empath abilities, you were able to just figure it out? Or
Yeah. One of them, I spent half a day with the person who was the captain of CID at the time. And it was just a combo of both my law enforcement background, because I was a detective and assistant chief when I retired. And then just the empath, just the whole, paranormal stuff. I kind of let that guide me. He had picked up some information. We had gone over stuff. So it was just like a combination of both things just meshing together. And like when we went out to the crime scene, the guy had died. They tried to make it look like he died in a fire. He did not. But when we went into the area where the fire had been set, that was the first time for me with any of my psychic abilities that I could actually feel. As soon as I got into what I just called the ring of fire, I could feel the heat. Like if you've ever stepped onto a grass fire or anything like that, where it's still smoldering.
Yeah.
There's heat will get you up to around your knees or a little bit above your knees. And with me, I think with me being a firefighter in the past and the firefighter training I've had, I think if I hadn't done that, I may not have noticed it, but I picked up on it immediately. So that whole area, I just knew exactly where that whole area was. And they probably thought I was crazy. I've become friends with the person who was a captain, because his house is haunted now and it's for sale too. And I've done, I don't know how many investigations over there, but I'm stepping in there. It's the first time I've experienced that. Right. And I kept going, can you feel it? Can you feel?
I thought you were going to say, can you feel the warmth?
Yeah. It's like, sound like a preacher or something. Can you feel it? And
That's hilarious.
I didn't think that was totally loony, which was a good thing. Which was a really good thing, because he has a really cool house that he started with a small house that he has built the house to probably 3 times the size it was. And there was so much activity in there and the house is for sale with all the furniture really picked up at his house. After he and his wife went to an estate sale in Dallas, they bought some antiques in different places because the house was built in 1910. And he's incorporated shiplap from the part of that house into pretty much every room in the house has a piece of or more of the original house.
Wow.
And last time I was there, we actually found a portal in the master closet. But
no, wait a minute. Rewind. You found a what?
a portal.
A portal in the closet?
in the closet.
Okay, two things.
Well, and the closet was actually a hall at one time.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, in the closet.
Then
yeah.
that explains why it would be there. But
Yeah.
how do you know it? How do you know it's a portal?
Well, I went over there with this time I went in with Deborah Colleen Rose, who's a friend, and she's also a psychic. She's also had a private investigation company for over 30 years. So she knows how to. In fact, I PI'd with her for a couple of years too. After I left the police department. No, after I left the state. Never mind. After I left the state. And so she knows how to interview. She knows what to look for. She's very gifted with her talents as far as being psychic, or she likes to call herself a Christian mystic. And so we were in there, and then Luann Morris, who is a psychic also, and she's a Reiki master and everything. So we were over there. I took them over the house. There's several people I've taken to the house, and we get into that closet, and all of a sudden she's totally off balance, and just really, we had to get her a chair to sit down, and she started getting dizzy, and so where she sat is literally where we were able to determine the portal was. And so she's like, I need pickle juice. So it kind of helped balance her electrolytes and everything.
Okay. I was like, going, I don't know what that did.
Well, it's kind of like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. It helps you out.
There you go. So, hey, I'm unique and so are my friends. So,
I was like, pickle juice. That's what they call it now, right?
Yeah. Pickle juice.
Wow.
So
So
Silence.
I know. Well,
No,
I've never.
have
heard
you
Jesus.
ever,
Yeah, he
I thought I
looks
saw Ken's mouth
amazing.
moving. I thought I saw the kid's mouth moving, and I was like, shut my brain down for a second. All right, so paranormal profiling is your first book. What's the second book?
Haunted Hill House Where Spirits Speak.
Okay. Now, did you have that book last year?
Yes, I did.
Did I buy it?
Obviously not.
I mean, now I feel like a terrible individual because I was like,
Hey, you were too busy. You were too busy hanging out with Keith,
Really
across the room from me, where I could, stick my tongue out and everything.
You see me. I'm here, there, everywhere. I'm just walking around. Yeah, now I feel like a turd. You're not supposed to make me feel like a turd.
Well, that's okay.
well, maybe you bought it, but just didn't read
Big
it.
turd.
But the Haunted Hill House is what you were speaking on last year. Are you going to speak on that again this year?
Yes, last year one day was on the house, the other day was on profiling.
Yeah, profiling.
And I'll probably do the same thing this time.
Yeah, with its this house. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Haunted Hill House is in Mineral Wells, Texas. It's catty corner to the Baker Hotel. And almost anybody who's been in the paranormal for any length of time has heard of the Baker Hotel. But the Baker is not anywhere near as haunted as this house. This house was built around 1860, 1870. There are tunnels that run around various places in town. Across the street from the Baker is a church, and then next to it is the Hill House. We know that there are tunnels from the Baker Hotel to Haunted Hill House, to the church, and, other places. But Haunted Hill House was at one time, it's been a brothel. It's been a speakeasy. It's been a makeshift hospital. Original people there were doctors. One guy was one of the earlier Texas Rangers. There's possibility that Sam Bass, if you're into buried treasure, has buried some of the gold that he stole from the train on the mountain or the big hill behind the house.
Oh.
There's been murders. There's one that's open now. It's about 15 years, an unsolved open case, or well, it may be more of a cold case now, that myself and several other people have been working on. And we're pretty sure we know what happened, the person went missing, and she was missing for about a year. And then they found partial remains that were identified as her.
Oh God.
You know, several miles away in a pasture. But there's things like somebody has sent a photograph of this person. Her first name is Krishanda. Picture of her in the back of a car with her back facing Haunted Hill House. She knew the people that lived in the house at the time and was friends with some of them. But in that picture, that was taken the day she went missing. Her face was bruised like she had been assaulted. There's rumors about things. There's rumors that that somebody actually put on Facebook and took it down, and somebody possibly has some of that video where she actually died in Haunted Hill House, and there were some things that were happening inside the house that resulted in her death. There's when it was a brothel, when Willie had the house. There's a picture. They have a picture of Willie standing out in front of the house, but he was one that he may have been scratching a lot of people. It's like, depending on where you go, it's anywhere from the number 1 to number 2 most haunted in the state, number 1 in the state, in the U.S., and sometimes they say in the world. It just depends, but it's got that designation by a bunch of different places that are saying that. They're not saying that. Other people are. You can get rocks thrown at you right now. Some of the stuff are the rocks, whether you're outside. People think there's a skinwalker that's coming down off of the mountain. Several tribes used to be around there. In fact, there is a John Wayne movie. I can't think of the name of it now. That was made. They changed the location, but there was a brother or sister who were kidnapped by, I forget which tribe, and they were kidnapped, and the boy got away. I don't remember what happened to the girl right now. And he went on to be an admiral in the Navy, and he also wrote a book about his life. Well, they took that book and they turned it into a John Wayne movie, but they took the movie and moved the location. And I think they put in one of the other well-known Native Americans, from the 1800s or 1900s, somewhere. Well, that would have been in the 1900s of that time period. And I can't, it's so hot, I can't even think anymore.
I understand.
So they have that. There's supposed to be a jewel thief that was running from the law up there on their hill, and he tripped and fell or something and went into a crevice. You can't do that anymore. It's the cactus are so huge. They're like tree trunks. And so it's hard to move through there. But, a long time ago, it was much easier and it was more open. And the story goes, he was running and he fell in a crevice, him and the jewels, and a boulder rolled over him. And he's still up there somewhere.
Yes.
But this past year or so, people who are outside have been saying that they're seeing a humongous black wolf running down from out of there. There shouldn't be a wolf up there because on top of the hill, there's, houses. It's in the city. But they see it. They get chased back in the house fight. You can hear something running behind them. You see grown men like screaming and running to get back in the house. Like, once they go out there to smoke. People are getting rocks thrown at them in the back. People get rocks thrown at them like, pebbles thrown at them from inside the house too. Up from upstairs, they'll throw them to people downstairs.
That's scary.
So all this going on, and it was connected to a church.
Well, by a tunnel.
By a tunnel.
What are they?
So,
What are they? What are they?
But
What are the tunnels? What are the tunnels about?
Well, the tunnel. Well, the Baker Hotel. You had a lot of rich people, influential people, Washington D.C. kind of people, celebrities. Think about it during Prohibition that they would go stay at the Baker. They started going for the healing waters. They're kind of like hot springs with the mineral springs. Well,
Yeah.
that's why it's called mineral wells for the same type thing. At one time, there were 20 bathhouses in mineral wells, and the Baker Hotel.
Bathhouses.
No, not those kind. The hot spring kind.
Oh, okay.
The hot spring
Sure.
kind.
Sure. Nudge, nudge,
Healing
wink,
waters.
wink.
Healing waters.
So while it was a speakeasy and a brothel, they could go over to the house without being seen. They could go back and forth. And if it was raining, they could get to the church on Sunday for the same way. But there's also talk that babies, that some of the ladies that had babies, that they were then sold by, the people running the brothel, and that was another way to transport those children, was through the tunnels, those infants through the tunnels as well. We know there's tunnels. The city will deny the tunnels. Kathy and Sonny Estes own the house. Kathy has talked to, in one of the next books I'm doing about the house is going to be all about all of the murders and the natural deaths too, because there's been a combination. But her nurse at her doctor's office her family grew up in mineral wells. She and her brother used to play in those tunnels when they were younger. Her father was some kind of an engineer. I don't know if it had to do with Baker or with the city. I don't remember. And he has the blueprints of the tunnels.
Huh.
Of the underground Arkansas.
That's wild.
That's a,
Well,
I know you. Arkansas is a wonderful place. Near and dear to me.
the kids, she and her brother, when they were little, in the tunnels, she and her brother played in cars. She didn't think about it at the time because she was so young, but the tunnels were big enough to drive cars into. And
Wow.
they were playing cars that she wondered about because the cars were full of personal belongings. As she got older, it's like, wait a minute, what happened to all those people that all their belongings, their suitcases, their personal stuff, and their cars are in these tunnels?
Wow.
That's freaky.
Well, Mineral Wells was a hotbed of occult activity at one time too. So, and we know there were tunnels, or there were cars in the tunnels, because in 1985, even though the city denies tunnels, they actually pulled all the cars out, and the city held a car auction in, I believe it was 1985, and sold all the vehicles that had been in the tunnels.
Huh.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
So most of the stuff that we talk about with the house, we've actually, through the last 5 years, and Donna McCauley is the historian, have found a lot of documentation, about it. We've got death certificates. We know where people are buried. We have birth certificates. We know their names. We know their ages, and a lot of other things.
So you got a lot of history on the place. Now you've investigated the site
Many times.
So tell me what you experienced personally.
Okay, well, I will say that I have probably spent more nights alone in that house than anybody else.
Yeah.
Most teams will leave in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter if it's a bunch of old women or a bunch of, macho guys. They'll leave screaming. Or they might sleep on the front porch because they're afraid to sleep in the house. The kitchen is where there's like, I don't know, there's 20 some odd cameras. Every room in the house is on camera except for the bathrooms.
So they got their own camera system running.
Yeah. Okay. And so you can sit in there, they have it because they kind of look at the place as a research center.
Yeah.
Because you can rent it for a night, for a week, or whatever. You can bring up to where you have a total of 8 people there. And if something happens and you're there, and they have all the equipment that you would want to use if you want to, you don't have to bring any. They provide snacks, they provide drinks, they provide fancy donuts in the morning.
Nice.
And so there's there's 5 bedrooms there. There's
Pickle
There's 4
juice.
bathrooms, 5 bedrooms. Most people don't sleep there. And they're too afraid to. They'll either sit in the kitchen watching the cameras because they think it's a safe place, but it's not.
Yeah. So you sent a bunch of videos. Now these are all Hill House, right?
Yeah, they all are.
So I don't know if you remember what you sent, and if you
I
can
don't.
you don't.
All right. Well, I
I
can.
don't.
She'll see it, and when she sees it, she'll know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shauna's in charge of it all. Take it away.
All right.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you. Who turned these lights on?
What?
Listen to the end. I'll play it again.
Thank you. Who turned these lights on?
You can hear his little voice. Toby.
That's well, but Toby is the negative or demonic type entity that's in the house.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, when they bought the house, they kept the rooms the names that they were because Phil, it is hot. I can't remember Phil's last name. He had the house for 5 years and he thought he was going to almost die one night. So from that point on, he never stepped foot on the property. People could investigate, but they've done a lot of stuff since they bought it from Phil. Phil is an archaeologist who actually there's an archaeological park in Mineral Wells now that he got going. But Toby, so the people that lived there for 20 years that were supposedly into the occult, the dark side, not the dark side, and that the girl that went missing was friends with and all this sort of stuff. From what I was told, because I interviewed one of the people that had lived there, grew up there, she said that her sister had actually, and her friends had worked with, used a Ouija board, and they claim that they summoned Toby to the house. Now, Toby is not human, was never human, is very old. And I do have a picture of Toby that I show when I do Hill House, when I do a presentation. I've got a picture of Toby. There was somebody that just turned around and was on a group because occasionally they'll do tours and a few times a year. And Stacy just turned around, snapped a picture. And when she looked at her picture, she did with her GoPro, she about had a heart attack because it's one of the creepiest looking things you'll ever see. Toby hisses and growls a lot. He, on a lot of the videos, he will sound real mechanical, but that's how he always sounds.
Wow.
And I've heard him many, many times. I've been scratched. I've been bitten. I've had doors open. I've had doors close on me. I've had the piano in the living room play on its own. I hear audible stuff. Of course, I've gotten EVPs. I get, hissed at, growled at. I have the kids talk to me though, and respond. You hear people. I can hear people when I stay the night in the living room, like there's a party going on. You hear stomping. You hear a lot of residual. I mean, activity. It doesn't matter if it's morning, afternoon, night. There's just constant activity in this house. And that's not even getting into the stuff that's outside. That's just the inside part.
So what kind of tools do you typically use when you investigate? Personal?
I don't use any anymore. Well, I don't use any anymore, at least at that house. But, what I started using a Sony, 8mm camera years ago, but I used my 35mm in a recorder. And I still kind of use the video camera. I use a video when I use a recorder. I'll use, I have a tri-field and, different, I've got about half a dozen different types of devices to register EMF, and I'll pull out several of them and use those to, especially if I go an interview and the first time I go somewhere with my interview I'll do base readings, pretty much take base readings and photographs of the location to see if we can find anything or not, and then go from there. A lot of times when I go to houses, though, now for a long time, I don't need to do investigations, because a lot of times I can usually figure out what's going on, and I can either handle it or tell them what to do to kind of empower them is what I try to do, so they're not so afraid.
Good.
Yeah, that's what we generally do.
Important. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, very.
So run another video here. Let's see what we got.
All right.
Maybe. Here we go.
I'm done. The dang dog had.
Oh, wait, I gotta show it again. I didn't even show the guess. I'm sorry.
I'm done. The dang dog had.
What did you say? The dang doll?
Yep.
I'm done.
I'm done.
You said the
I'm
dang doll
done.
got me or something.
Yeah, they heard some stuff upstairs, and if you go to my TikTok and go way, way, way down to the bottom too, you're going to see all kinds of people running. Or you can just go to their Facebook page, and they have a lot of live feed. They'll do exit interviews if people make it through the night.
Wow.
And find out what happened. Yeah.
Do they
That's
offer remote access to
No.
to their viewing?
No, they don't. There's a lot of things I've talked to them about doing too, but it's where they could actually, do some more monetizing, but they're not interested in that. They have, since they bought the house, they have had it leveled. They had the roof replaced. The inside and the outside has been painted. They opened up one bathroom, and there's stories with it that was closed for 50 years and, updated. They enclosed a porch and put a bathroom in there. People thought that was safe, but it's not safe anymore. They've done a lot of stuff in the house since they bought the house. So a lot of the money that they get, people think they're making a killing on the house. They're not, because they're putting money back into the house.
Well, good. But
Makes sense.
I got a question on here. Karen Whitaker is asking, do you use divining rods or anything like that?
Yeah, I do occasionally. I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they work well. Sometimes they just laugh at me. No.
So I can't use them. I have a trimmer. It's a small one, but I don't trust anything like that. So
right.
In my hands. So
right. Right.
Have
Well,
you-
that's when I'd use them off and on. I have several. I have a pair that I use, and I have several pairs that other people can use.
yeah.
Have you
So-
ever used any of them outside, let's say on a case, trying to find maybe a buried body or something?
Ugh.
Have you?
Well,
Try
I've
that.
used them to find lost items.
Okay.
There's a lady that I met a number of years ago down in Lampasas, Texas, which is going towards the hill country. And I've been down there, I think 3 times now. And her story is quite interesting. She had learned how to use them to find graves, find the
Right.
graves.
Right.
And she's also gifted. And the first night she was in her house, she saw a guy, the hall goes and runs into her kitchen. She saw some guy just, come out of the wall at the end of the house, run down through the hall and into the kitchen while he's looking back and on out. Well, she claims to have found out who that person is. She found where he was buried. She says that there's a lot of they're all Cherokee and Apache that are buried on the property and in the area. She talks about, she's done all this stuff with her divining rods, those, male, female, and came up with this whole story that I have no idea whether it's real or not, because I know that not all skirmishes have been documented, but she had said that what happened was there was, these were two, the Apache and the Cherokee, who usually don't live together, were some that had escaped from the, marching to Oklahoma, and they're doing with the Trail of Tears and everything. And I know that there were Native Americans in the Lampasas area.
Mhm.
And she claims that they ended up together. And there was this one white man who was like a liaison between them and the fort that's nearby. And that man ended up marrying the chief's daughter, which in turn, he ended up selling her, as like a prostitute.
Oh God.
To the people in the fort. And he's running because the chief is running after him to kill him when he finds out. But she said that there was a battle, and all of those buried in that area died during the battle. Of course, there's no record of anything like that. But, I have no idea. I don't have any way. I had suggested that she start digging after a big rain to see if she can find anybody. She had written down what she looked like some kind of an indigenous language. And I have copies of all this stuff from her. And I have tried to see if that was a language. I read a bunch of it at one point on one radio show to see, and we talked all about that and to see if it was something anybody recognized.
Mm-hmm.
So I still, some people think she's a little quacky, but aren't we all to some degree?
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't
very
know.
true.
Yeah.
The strangest one out of all of us, though, is Adrian. Just saying.
What?
I can tell. I know.
All right.
We're all
So
normal.
you use the dowsing rods to find stuff. Is that something special or a way to do it or anything? Because I mean, I don't know how they work when you're finding grave sites. It's really, to me, it's really strange. I know you can find water.
Yeah, it's the same way. Way when you find grave. They've done that for thousands of years. They've used divining rods and the stick. Yeah, I mean, that's not anything that's new. They've been using that to find water, to find graves, people use it to find lost items, because when you're doing it, you walk so far, and if you're using them correctly, they will kind of point you in the direction to go, and that's how you find the water or the lost graves. When you kind of hit the location, they'll cross, and this is the same way. It's the graves are the same way as the water.
Right, I know, but I was talking about the lost items. I've done the other two, but not that.
Are you needing to find something, Ken?
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
I'm looking for that gold that she said.
Right.
I mean,
I want the gold.
That's a great way to start.
I don't know about treasures, but
okay. Well, that was a bad joke. Sorry. But is the finding the lost items, is that based on just intentions, I guess, then?
And probably, because usually the lost items are going to be something that you lost. Something, and you're wanting to find, you want to find your wallet or your keys or, whatever it is. Your ring.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I'm going to go out and try to find some 4-leaf clovers. I need some more luck.
There.
Right.
Okay.
We all do.
Bring on another video there, Shauna.
All righty.
See what we got.
We got dun dun dun. This one.
Shut
Hang on. Wait again, because I got everybody just seeing our frozen faces. All right. There we go.
Shut up. Thank you. Ah, we turned the bear off.
That laugh sounds like came downstairs.
That was a laugh?
Yeah. It's like a giggle laugh.
Bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a real person running around upstairs?
No, that is not them. That's something invisible that's running around, and that giggle was also an audible.
Yeah,
That
that
wasn't
was-
any
Okay.
of them that did the
Okay.
giggle and that running. People have been running down the stairs because that running that you heard, that stomping is going towards them, and they're getting that outside as well, running them back inside. And that's something the last year or so has shown up.
Uh,
Wow, it's
I
like
think it-
they're hurting the people.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Maybe
Yeah.
they've learned that's a good way to get them moving.
Well, it's like new things will show up. Nothing is stuck there. Some of the stuff, sometimes it leaves and then it comes back. Kathy and Sonny stay in a camper in the back because people will leave a lot in the middle of the night, and they'll just leave everything wide open.
No.
And they don't want people to go in and steal things or damage things. So they have to stay on the property for that. So she also blesses the people when they leave, unless they say no. And she does the same thing. She does a blessing on everybody's vehicle too. So
okay.
that nothing can follow. I do know that there have been some people who refused, and seems like something had followed them where they actually had to come back and drop it back off, and it was more of negative things
Ooh.
that happened. There was, when they opened up, so the bathroom that was closed up for 50 years, it was sealed. There was a murder-suicide that happened in there.
Oh my God.
And then it was sealed. So when they opened it up, there was an EVP when the contractors were working on it that said, like, who let Billy out?
Oh.
So
Wow.
Billy, we don't know if Billy is a child or what, but they've heard stuff about Billy ever since they opened it up. Some people like to go in there and do like the Estes method and get in the bathtub in there. The bathtub is original to the house. The medicine cabinet is original to the house. So those two things, and they tend to get scratched when they're in the bathtub trying to do something in there. There was, when they opened it, there was a toilet, and they still have the toilet tank with a bullet hole that was in one corner, and above it was what looked like it could be brain matter or something and some hair. And Kathy had several people come through at different times, not together, who worked as, with the medical examiner's office, who had claimed that it looked like brain matter to them, but it was never tested, to say, yes, absolutely. But somebody stole it. And the person that stole it started having a lot of bad things happen to them at home.
well, that's
So,
karma.
Oh.
Paul and Kathy's like, you have to bring it back. It seems like if you try to steal something from the house, it's not good. And so he brought it back, but what he did is he brought it back and just threw it and kept going, threw it out on the property and kept going.
Good grief.
So, so that was lost. So they were never able to have it sent off to be tested because somebody stole it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Hey, play that
Wow.
next video here because I'm kind of interested in this one here.
Now, which video was this again?
She felt something rushing up.
Oh,
behind her.
okay. Yeah. Got that one.
No. Oh, fuck that shit. No.
A bunch of potty mouths. But she's
Nope.
So, of course,
getting ready
that's
to go.
upstairs where it's very dark, pitch dark. So that doll that you hear, that's one of the animatronics that's actually broken. You can stomp all around it and it won't go off. It just kind of goes off periodically. Sometimes they'll do communications where it'll kind of respond and go off. But that stomping, she was the last one to go downstairs. Everybody else had gone downstairs, and you heard her scream because something was rushing up. And then in the other room, which nobody's in, the doll goes off, which is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It scares a lot. I don't know how many people have run and fallen down those stairs to get away. That doll goes off.
Oh my gosh. That was like perfect timing for that doll to go off too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Big
Oh my
time.
gosh. Wow.
Let's run through these videos. We got like 4 more and we got
All right.
8 minutes. So let's get this one. It's a mommy.
We got plenty of time, Adrian.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
You didn't want to mow?
That was it.
Now that one was at the where
Yeah.
That one is in the carousel room with all the dolls hanging from the rafters. I look like I'm on dope or something. I'm just kind of like zombied out there. And I went in there because the air is not on in there and there's no air circulation in there.
Yeah.
And those 2 dolls started moving.
Yeah.
So I went in there to check that. Also, you see, like straight behind me, you've got that dark square of material on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Behind that is all the fireplaces in this house are fake. And that one is a huge. And if you go in there, it goes to the upstairs into the moonshine, what they call the moonshine room. But people have seen like white faces that come, if you go in there and sit for a while or stand and it's of course pitch dark, they'll have faces, like white faces, just all of a sudden, just right in the face to them. And, but part way up, there were I thought they were just little cubby holes that they had found when they got the house, had found some empty bottles of liquor. And it was open. There was an opening all the way to upstairs. Well, they sealed the opening so nobody would fall in when they're upstairs. But the cubby holes, and they've talked about putting mattresses in them. The cubby holes in between the 2 floors are so big. I'm 5'6". I could stand up in it.
Oh wow.
And it's wide enough. You could put a twin size mattress in there and have some room on either side.
Huh.
Oh wow.
That's wild.
So that's how much room is between the floors.
Karen asked in the chat, so when these spirits run up, if you stand there, do they push you or if there's any physical attacks? Now you said you've been bit and scratched before.
Yeah. Well, people get touched all the time. People end up scratched, not just me. They end up scratched. I think a long time ago, a few people had felt like they were being pushed, but mostly they don't get pushed, but most of us hang on to the stairs just in case.
Just in case, yeah.
Just in case.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, this house is haunted, and although it's never been overly aggressive, one of our investigators was actually pushed. And I thought that was I don't know what he had against her, but
oh wow.
Maybe she deserved it. I don't know.
Oh wow.
The next video says get out. You got to get out there. I like get out.
There's a lot of those.
Oh yeah. As he's coming down the stairs.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was coming from that came from the security camera.
Yeah.
The other
Can you hear that out loud?
So just their security cameras have the audio. The other cameras are just video.
And he heard that when he was going down the stairs because he kind of stopped.
No, he didn't hear.
Oh, he
Yeah,
didn't?
No, because that was on the security camera.
Yeah.
So he didn't hear it, but the security camera picked it up. So I was in there when I was writing the book. I was in the house for 3 days. The second night I was there, I was acting like I was living there, and I wanted to keep the atmosphere in there like if you were living, not investigating. So the second night, I'm about to fall asleep. It's 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I turn off the TV, shut the computer, and all of a sudden, because I was very open at that time and like relaxed and chilled because it'd been just mostly just residual stuff. And all of a sudden from upstairs, I hear the loudest, you swear the neighbors could hear it, or they could hear it at the baker. It was so loud, it like reverberated around the house. It was like a combo of a hiss, a growl, I don't know what, but everything you could think of all rolled up in one. So there's a curtain that separates the kitchen from the hallway. So I heard that, and the adrenaline starts going, and I run out there and I sling that curtain, and I look upstairs and I holler up there like, "Yeah, I heard you. So what? What do you want?" And so the adrenaline's going. This is like, 11 or so at night. And I had just been texting Kathy a few minutes earlier. So I'm going to go outside and just kind of calm down for a little bit before I come back in, let that adrenaline, kind of slow down a little bit. But when I do, I went past that security camera that picked up that get out. But when I went by, what Sonny picked up was a look. Toby made her turn red. He'll get her later.
Oh,
Wow.
And I have it somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah. That kind of scared Kathy a little bit. They were worried about
Oh
I
goodness.
bet. Yeah, that's crazy.
it.
Now
Yeah.
roll this next one. It says this is a really good one.
All right. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I had to change. Oops, wrong
Here.
button. Hang on, I gotta get the next one. Not the right one.
That's the wrong one.
That was the wrong one. All right.
Here we go.
Martha isn't here this evening. I have no idea where Martha is, but she ain't here tonight. I'm sure she'll be back soon. Y'all like Martha?
That's awesome. Oh my
It
gosh.
was awesome.
Yeah, Martha. Martha.
That's funny.
And
Play that again.
yeah,
Play that.
Martha's not
Oh, you
here
want me to play it
tonight.
again?
Play
All
that
right.
again one more
Yeah,
time.
play it again.
All right. We'll do.
Please.
That was
We'll
cool.
do.
Martha isn't here this evening. I have no idea where Martha is, but she ain't here tonight. I'm sure she'll be back soon. Y'all like Martha?
That is funny.
Cool.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah. I like how he talked to her too, because most of them be like, "Oh, Martha, okay."
Yeah. No, she's
Very
not
cool.
here tonight. That's, I think, the friend of a son or a son of somebody I know that's, goes to the house. But I took a couple of friends and I went I think it was might have been last summer. I'm not sure when, but in the last year. And it had been 6 months or more since I had been there. And as we're pulling up, because you got the road tees into where the street the house is on. And so Kathy's sitting out front, she waves, and I honk as I turn around to go pull up the driveway. And it was Nancy and Henry went with me. And Nancy goes, "Watch, they'll probably get something. And do you know that they did pick up something? Sonny picked up something on the security. It said, 'Look, Martha's coming tonight.'"
That's so cool. Oh
Now
my
this
goodness.
this last video that you sent said there's a spirit walking by. Is this like this the same night? This is just before?
No,
Or?
okay. That's a different night. And if you look down on the sidewalk or by the street, it happens real quick. You'll see something walk by, and that's not a person.
All right, play that one there. See what we got. What?
It's at the beginning.
That's it?
Wait. Right here.
That's not a person.
The only thing I have on this is that I have seen some episodes of where special effects artists say that there's a slack in some Ring cameras and in some security cameras that could cause that. However, if you look at it, there's two shadows.
Yeah, that's weird.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you
And
don't see the other
that's-
set of the other set of feet.
Not at all.
And at one point, you also see his body get really tall, like right there.
Yeah.
You see it? And there's almost like a water or something in the street reflecting.
That's odd.
It almost looks like two people there, but if it is, they are so synced
odd.
up.
They are so synced up that
it's
they're
not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not right.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah.
That's odd.
It is.
Well, I
Yeah,
talked to
that's
Kelly
strange.
today or yesterday, and she said now the house, because this house has been on a lot of TV and YouTube shows,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and now people are driving from all over the country just to drive by and get a picture in front of the house. Now, if people try to climb over, they put like a no trespassing chain on the on the where you would come up from the sidewalk, and
Uh-huh.
people who have climbed over that and gone on the porch, they have, of course, their security alerts them, but these people have gotten sick.
Oh, because they're there without permission.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Wow.
a
And it's
great
like-
little
and
security feature.
Yeah, and things happen to some of these people when they do that. It's crazy over there. Things almost it's like what's there protect the land. The land is more than a haunted house. It's more than just the land of a haunted house. There's so much more to this house. So much more to the land.
So how would we investigate the place? I mean, to the billions of people out there, they want to investigate. I already see people in the chat say they want to go. So
They can go to, all they have to do is go to hauntedhillhouse.com and check the calendar and find an available time. I don't think there's any weekends until maybe the fall or next year that are available, but it's during the week, it's I think $100 less during the week than on the weekend. Like I said, they provide all that stuff. They will do Kathy does a historical tour downstairs.
A hysterical tour?
Yeah, she will go down. Yeah. Not hysterical. Well, sometimes it's hysterical. But
That's the one I would take.
So she will do that for people if they want it. And it goes into all of the, really deep into all of the stuff that has been discovered with the house. There's a well under the house. There's a well outside. In fact, they were two of the first wells in the city way back when, or on that property. There's a picture that I've seen of a man. He was a colonel or general or something like that, but he went to the house to try to get healed. He was really sick. And he went back home in Jefferson, Texas, and there's a house, somebody else has that house as a B&B. And then he went home and died. So it's interesting that this man has been in both houses. People tend to bring some of their items to the house that they don't want, they're afraid of, or they think they might be, evil or something. So that may have something to do with things that come and go. When Phil had the house, he was staying in his camper, and it was Phil Kirchhoff is his last name. And in my book, there's a picture of somebody who's not there, a man with like the white beater kind of t-shirt on and everything, and he's not in the camper, but Phil was in there one night. There were people in the house, and something started like running and slamming into the side of the camper so hard, and this was about a 25-foot camper, so it's not a little bitty one.
Yeah.
And slamming into it, the thing literally went up on one side, the wheels off the ground on one side, and it almost tipped over, and he really thought he was gonna, that was the night he thought he was gonna die. And from that point on, he never stepped foot on the property ever again.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
wild.
I have
All
a
right, we
question.
gotta wrap this up.
I do
We're
have-
at about the hour, but wait, go ahead.
I have one question real quick. Is this the place that the movie or the miniseries, The Haunting of Hill House,
No,
or is that
that's
something
just totally, that's a totally, fabricated
fabricated?
thing.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
if that was similar in our same place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good movie,
no, that's
though.
not what it
Yep. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
So guys, it's less than a 6-hour
So-
drive from me.
So we know about
Yeah.
so we know about the Hill House. How do people get in contact with you?
with me, they can just go look up Martha Hazzard Decker and put that name in there, Martha Decker, and pretty much because I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and just find me, and that's how they get a hold of me.
Right
And
on.
everything has phone numbers, it has emails, addresses, so I'm really easy to get a hold of.
And
And
for
your
those of
books.
you who want to meet her in person, would like to get her book, apparently, because I did send my wife a message. I'm like, did we buy the book? I can't believe we didn't get the book. So now I'm obligated to buy the book. So better bring one and get ready to write something fancy in there and make me feel special because anyhow.
Yeah.
She's gonna write, yeah, you didn't buy my book.
But anyhow,
Adrian, buy two.
yeah, you're right. Buy two.
Yeah.
Buy two.
Dedicate book 2 because it's a series to Adrian, who did not buy this book.
Yeah.
Martha, thank you so much for being on the show. We enjoyed having you. It's always a pleasure. I can't wait to get you back on my show.
I know we had
Yeah.
a blast.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We totally did.
Isn't this your show? Anyhow.
Well, no, well, okay, it is. But you know what? Okay, yes, this is my show too.
Could be on my show, which I don't have.
Yeah, isn't this your show? I think this is your show. Anyhow,
It's
yeah,
his show.
Martha, I'm looking forward to seeing you this October. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't
Gotta
wait.
hang out.
it
Gotta hang
is.
out.
It is. It's gonna be fun. Can't wait to see everybody. And I will be posting the promo tonight, everybody. And I'm gonna first post it in the AMOK podcast group page, and then I will post it after that
For the world.
for the world. Yes. All right. Until next time, everybody. Y'all have a great weekend or week.
See ya.
It's week. Bye,
Week.
y'all.
Week. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.